Support comes from Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to sustainable and sound conservation of the state's forests, which support more than 41,000 Missouri jobs, resulting in a $10 billion industry. ChooseWood.com.
It's Friday, October 28th, and this is The Gateway from St. Louis Public Radio News. Hello, I'm Rod Milam. The St. Louis Police Department provided more details on Thursday about how the perpetrator of the shooting at Central Visual Performing Arts High School obtained that firearm. Sergeant Charles Wall says the assailant tried to purchase his gun at a licensed dealer in St. Charles, but did not succeed because of an FBI background check. Wall said that he obtained the gun from a private seller, which he used during Monday's shooting. Wall also said that there is no existing law that would have prevented that private sale. And that deadly shooting is now leading to additional calls for stricter gun laws in the state of Missouri. St. Louis Public Radio's Mark Degon reports on a town hall forum about the shootings hosted last night by Missouri Congresswoman Cori Bush.
Bush says school shootings are preventable if elected leaders are willing to act. Bush favors national background checks before any type of gun sale and a national ban on assault-style rifles. Among the speakers at the town hall was Veronica Russell. She's a senior at the school where the shootings occurred, who had written to Congresswoman Bush about the risks students face.
What exactly have we gained from the use of assault rifles? The death of innocent children, the death of animals, terrorist attacks, fear, and a higher murder rate, nothing more.
Governor Mike Parsons says more gun laws would accomplish nothing. What's needed, he argues, is more mental health resources. I'm Mark Degon, St. Louis Public Radio.
St. Louis County Executive Sam Page criticized state and federal lawmakers for not passing stronger gun laws. His comments came just days after that gunman killed 2 and wounded several others in South St. Louis. Page, who is campaigning for re-election, called for background checks before all gun sales. He also called for red flag laws that allow authorities to take firearms from those deemed a risk to themselves or to others.
We languish as a state because we don't want to take bold action. And bold action in this case is following the will of people and putting in place common sense gun laws.
Missouri does not require background checks for those who buy guns from private sellers. The state legislature in 2021 passed a law that prohibited state and local enforcement of federal gun control laws. Mental health advocates are encouraging parents to talk about Monday's school shooting in St. Louis with their children. St. Louis Public Radio's Sarah Fenton reports the head of a local crisis support line says traumatized children need frank conversation in order to process the tragedy.
A mental health expert in St. Louis County is urging parents to talk to their kids about their fears of returning to school. Bart Andrews is Chief Clinical Officer of the crisis help organization Behavioral Health Response. He says parents need to show kids they're safe and cared for even if they weren't directly affected by the shooting.
We need to talk about it and not avoid it. We have lots of good research that shows that having plain, simple, honest conversations about how the trauma impacted us helps people recover.
Andrews says returning to a set routine, including going back to school, can help kids recover from trauma more quickly. He encourages children and parents in crisis to call the Regional Crisis Hotline at 844-985-8282 or by calling 988. I'm Sarah Fenton, St. Louis Public Radio.
In other news, one of 2 St. Louis alders running for board president says she got into the race because of peer pressure. St. Louis Public Radio's Rachel Lippman has more from 15th Ward Alderwoman Megan Green's appearance on Politically Speaking.
Green came in third in a close Democratic primary for board president in 2019. But despite her experience in citywide elections, she was not planning to run for the seat next year. But when it opened up in June, after Lewis Reed and 2 other aldermen resigned, Green says her phone blew up with people telling her to get into the race. Among those who called, she says, was Mayor Tashara Jones.
You know, it's really hard to say no to the mayor when she's asking you to run for a position and asking you to work with her on something.
Though Green is running far behind her opponent, Jack Coder, financially, she expects to have enough money to compete in the 2 weeks before the election. Whoever wins will serve until April. I'm Rachel Lippman, St. Louis Public Radio.
An Illinois lawmaker wants to considerably streamline how cannabis is controlled in the state, but he's running out of time. Alex Degman reports.
State Representative Marcus Evans wants to create a new Cannabis Control Commission, one agency that handles everything. Right now, 10 entities divide the recreational cannabis workload. Evans says a one-agency system works in other states, and support for his measure here is growing.
We want government to be easy and user-friendly, and I think the commission, at the very least, could just be a centralized place to go to get information, and of course, for the business community, a centralized place for them to go to get an answer.
Evans introduced this early in 2021. He has only until the end of this winter's lame duck session to move it. Otherwise, it'll die when the next General Assembly is sworn in January 11th. I'm Alex Degman.
And the first new game in the new St. Louis Soccer Stadium is set. Major League Soccer's St. Louis City SC says its development team, City 2, will take on Bayer Leverkusen at City Park on November 16th. The German squad is owned by pharmaceutical company Bayer, which acquired St. Louis-based Monsanto in 2018. The team finished third last season in Germany's top professional league. Tickets go on sale today through City SC's app. The Gateway is a production of St. Louis Public Radio, a listener-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis, and music is by Ryan McNeely of Adult Fur. I'm Rod Milam.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, providing more than 41,000 jobs in the production of wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details at choosewood.com.